Hi guys! In today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the mistakes that we make when we speak English as non-native speakers. Well, actually, some of these you can hear from native speakers as well. So if you're curious about them and you want to know how to get rid of those mistakes, keep watching this video. This is English with LinguaTrip, and let's get started.
Everything's in English.
All you need to know.
All right. How did you learn to speak English?
And the first kind of mistake that we make is using the wrong tense. And not just using the wrong tense, but also mixing up different forms. For example, instead of saying, I didn't say that, we say, I didn't said that, where we use didn't and the past form of the verb. So the solution here is just practice, 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 and not only speaking, but also listening. The more correct forms you hear, the easier it will be for you to use them in spontaneous speech. The second mistake is using words like basically or like at the beginning of every phrase. Basically, I've always liked to travel, that kind of thing. Basically, it's a big no. Sometimes we don't know which word to use, or we need a bit of time and we need to think, so we're filling those pauses with different words such as basically or like. And to be honest, you can hear them from some native speakers too. So you think, oh, I'm going to sound a lot more natural if I use them. But the truth is, if somebody uses these words too much, it can show that they're a bit lazy or they lack creativity when they speak. The next mistake is using two superlative or comparative forms of adjectives together. I'll explain what I mean now. So for example, if somebody says, this pizza is more better than the one we had yesterday, this is grammatically incorrect because we can't say more better. More is a comparative form and better is a comparative form. So we just need to say, this pizza is better than the one that we had yesterday. If you want to show that it was really, really better, so you're looking for the word much, much better.
Much better.
The same goes for the superlative form. You can't say the most best, for example. But sometimes for an emotional purpose, some people say, oh, you're my bestest friend, kind of doubling the superlative form. But that is grammatically incorrect and is only used to express specific emotions. The next mistake is using me and I. I'll give you an example of a sentence. They're going to send my friend and I an invitation. So here, if we take out the person preceding the I, my friend, we're going to end up with a sentence. They're going to send I an invitation, which does not sound correct. So here we need to use me. They're going to send my friend and me an invitation, because it's not the subject of the sentence. Or let's have a look at this sentence. Raoul and me are going to the market. So if we take out the first name, we'll end up with me are going to the market. So me is not really the subject of the sentence, so we need I in this case. And we're going to have Raoul and I are going to the market. Now, this kind of mistake you can hear from native speakers as well. Some of them are bothered when they hear this mistake, some of them are not. But if you know how to say it correctly, try to avoid making this mistake. The next one is using do and does incorrectly. It's very simple. We use does when the subjects are he, she, or it. In all the other cases, we use don't. Now again, in some situations when people use slang or people of certain subcultures, they can use don't when they say he, for example, he don't seem sad. Well, this is grammatically incorrect and we need to use doesn't. Remember about that. Find more advanced topics in our most popular course from intermediate to advanced. It's a challenge marathon that includes ranking. All participants form teams of 2 people. Those who complete all the challenges get to the top, boost their English faster, and have a chance to win prizes. All you need to do is watch video lessons, do your homework, complete creative bare homework on time, and develop your English skills. After the marathon, you won't only enrich your vocabulary, hone your grammar, and get rid of that language barrier, but you'll also win one of our prizes. The course runs for a month without any breaks or delays. Get your place by clicking the link below. There will also be a promo code for a discount. I highly recommend getting the Pro package so that you could participate in that prize draw. Again, the link is below. Go check it out. Now, the next one's interesting. Cope up with or cope with. First of all, when we say to cope up with something, it's incorrect. To cope with something means to handle a difficult situation. So we either use it without any preposition. How are you coping? Means how are you? Or how are you overcoming those difficult things in your life? How are you coping? Or how are you coping with your work? For example, if we have an object after that, to cope or to cope with something. But to cope also can mean to hold up. There is a phrase to hold up. How are you holding up? If something sad happened to a friend, for example, you can say, oh, how are you holding up? Or how are you coping? But not how are you coping up? That does not work. The next error is to confuse words lend and borrow. Now, I think the problem here comes from the first language that we speak. In some languages, words borrow and lend is the same word. So when people of those languages speak English, they tend to confuse the two verbs. Now, when you borrow something, you take it from somebody for a short period of time and then give it back. So you borrow, you take, and when you lend, you give it to somebody, and then, of course, they give it back to you. The next error is the incorrect use of phrases me too and me either. All of them mean that you are agreeing with somebody, but we say me too if the phrase that the person you're talking to said is positive grammatically, okay? Not logically. If something is grammatically positive, for example, I love traveling, you say, oh, me too. But if somebody says, I don't like getting up early, if you don't like it either, you don't say me too, you say, me neither or me either. So both of them, all of them mean that you agree, but the trick is what you agree with. If you agree with a positive phrase, you say me too. If you agree with a negative phrase, me neither or me either, depending on where you're from. The next mistake also comes from somebody's first language. A lot of non-native speakers mix up their verbs when they talk about medicine. For example, somebody might say, I have a headache, so I ate some painkillers. Instead, we use the verb to take. I have a headache, so I took some painkillers. Even though the action is pretty much the same, you put something into your mouth and you swallow it. With medicines, we don't use the verb to eat.
I took these painkillers.
It doesn't matter what form the medicine comes in, whether it's a pill or it's a liquid medicine. So we use the verb to take anyway. There's also a very good phrase to take a chill pill, which means to relax. If somebody's overexcited or too emotional, maybe a little bit in a negative way, you can say, oh, he needs to take a chill pill, meaning that he needs to relax a bit and not be too intense.
Pam took a chill pill.
The next mistake is when people confuse verbs lay and lie. Now, with a verb to lie, here we're not talking about the meaning not to tell the truth, but it's about being in a horizontal position. And of course, another source of the problem is that the past tense of the verb to lie down, lie on your bed, the past form of that verb is lay, which of course is so confusing, whereas verb to lay has past form of laid. Whew. How to avoid that mistake? If you lay something, you place it. Lay, place. If you lie, you recline, right? You take this comfortable position, you recline. Maybe this will help you remember the difference between these two verbs. Now, this is all for today. I hope you found this video really useful. Let us know in the comments below which mistakes you're making or maybe you heard somebody make. And don't forget to watch our other videos, and I'll see you next time.